Hello everyone, welcome to the first TurkuAI meetup of this March and Turku Tech Week as well. So my name is Arttu Laitinen. I am the chairman of the board of the information processing organization of Varsinais-Suomen, which is chairman of VATSKY, which organizes the TurkuAI meetups. So this is meetups. What we aim at having is at least 4 meetups per year. We will be having at least 4 meetups this spring and a few in the autumn as well. So having artificial intelligence themes in Turku talked about, and hopefully you'll be able to attend later on as well. What VATSKY does, it is an organization which pulls together different ICT themes and ICT events in Turku. So if you are interested in what's happening in Turku in the ICT scene, the different meetups, different other organizations in this domain, check out vstkoy.fi and join us and come and enjoy the activity that's going on in Turku. About the meetup itself, usually these are hosted by Jani, which is also on the VATSKY board. He's our meetup guy, TurkuAI meetup guy. We have started a collaboration with the Center of Intelligent Computing, CIC, last year. So Kai-Mikael Björk is an important character in that scene, and myself, I'm the guy behind the scenes, usually trying to get things done. And today, what we're talking about, this is our first CIC talk meetup. So essentially, Björk and his CIC team, he has a research group which consists of different projects where researchers, as like today's speakers, work with local companies to find out how these companies could utilize artificial intelligence. So first we'll be having Tuomas Burman and Jutta Lindfors discussing and talking about their topics, and then we will continue with a fireside chat about agents, LLMs, and stuff like this with Jaakko Partanen and Iida-Liisa Pardalin. Yeah, excuse me. So this was my part, and I will introduce Tuomas Burman and Jutta Lindfors. Welcome on the stage.
Okay, so hi, I'm going to say a few words at the start, and then Tuomas is going to give the real presentation about the AI. I'm just here to tell about the company Turun Vesihuolto so that you can understand the report and the presentation that Tuomas is going to give. So I'm Jutta Lindfors, and I work as a quality engineer at the utility of Turku, and I'm currently studying my PhD with computational methods with the drinking water quality. And yeah, so what I'm going to do is talk about utility of Turku, water utility, and just give a really quick operational overview what we are doing and how can Tuomas help us. Yeah. So Turun Vesihuolto Oy, or Utility of Turku, is a company totally wholly owned by the city of Turku, and it is specialized only for delivering drinking water to the customers and then taking the sewage water to the treatment plant. So we are only distributing water. We are not creating it. We are not making it. We only buy it from the Turku regional water, so Turun Seudun Vesi Oy, which is a company that delivers and makes water to 9 cities, Turku and other 8 near us, like Paimio, Naantali, Raisio, and it pumps the water from the Kokemäki River, and then makes it to the artificial groundwater. So it's a surface water with the characteristics of groundwater, so the quality is really good. But yeah, it delivers the water to us, and we buy it, and then we deliver it to customers, and then when the customer use it, we just take the sewage water and distribute it to the treatment plant or Turun Seudun Puhdistamo. So these treatment plants are centralized, decentralized, but the distribution systems are individuals, like Turku has its own distribution system and other cities has their own. We became a company as we are now on January 2017, but as you all know, the water has flown since the early 20th century, so this whole complex company system where we have three different companies are like basically established on 2017. Yeah, and can you change it? So what we basically do is distribute the water, but I just mention here a few teams that we have in our company because I know that some water utilities have outsourced them, but we have our own, like cybersecurity, as we are critical infrastructure, and we have our own engineering design team that plans new renovations to old pipelines and design new pipelines for distribution system. And then we have our own quality team, which is also kind of a thing that many utilities don't have. We do sampling and quality control according to health authority, and in addition to that we have our own laboratory here in Turku, and we do twice as much controlling with our self-monitoring parameters. We monitor something about 30 parameters from the water every day from the all around the distribution system. And what comes to the digital tools and machine learning tools, as you all know, all the pipelines are underground and they should be underground, so when you walk home from here, you shouldn't see them. So as they are something that are invisible to the eyes, we should have all the tools that we can utilize to model them so that we can detect leaks, we can monitor quality, and maybe do some sustainable choices and optimize just the distribution overall or optimize the treatment processes. So it's very important for the water utilities to have digital tools and tools that can help us to model what happens under there, because it's very hard to realize how much water is going under us right now. Yeah, that's all about the Turun vesihuolto. Now you can actually talk about the machine learning. Thank you.
So I'm Tuomas, and yeah, I'm there in University of Turku, doctoral research in data science, and what I'm doing, I'm developing data science tools for software for this bioinformatics. And yeah, open source, yes, that's so everything is free that I do, or almost everything. The another part is we can discuss about the price. Anyways, I want to invite you to this discussion. So I have this Menti, whatever meter thing. So you should go there, and then I have a couple of questions, and we can discuss about these things. I let you have a little bit time. Yeah, I have these questions because everyone is talking nowadays about AI, and it's well, everything is nowadays AI. There's microwaves are AI powered and whatever, something stupid stuff. But what is AI? Then we can discuss about that later. But yes, first question is what AI can do. So there's lots of different things that it can facilitate. Translate, yes. So now, yes, optimize, yes. So lots of this language model stuff. There's predict is the biggest one, I guess, and then there's lots of these kind of images and words and other related to this large language models. All right. So that was the easy question. Then the harder question: what is AI? I want to ask these questions because I have no clue what is your background, so that's why these questions. Maths, yes. Yes. No, oh yes. All right, so yeah, lots of the magic. Yeah, well, yeah. So yeah, lots of yeah, yes. All right, great answer. So I don't need to manipulate them anyway. But now we can go to this presentation. So just to that we are in the same page. So let's describe this artificial intelligence or AI. So as we know, it is the umbrella term of these different methods, and it's kind of this kind of intelligent systems. What makes it hard to define this AI is that what is intelligent? It's subjective, and also it is depends on the context. So, for instance, if the machine says that wear Crocs, well, I think that's the best advice ever, but someone else might disagree with that. But we can define artificial intelligence as something that the machine or algorithm or whatever computer does something that is intelligent, and let the intelligent be like a term that we don't define because I don't know what it is. All right, then machine learning. Let's continue with that. So, so that's some kind of algorithm that can learn something useful from the data. And well, there's different kind of machine learning models as we know, and these deep learning models, like everyone is talking about deep learning models nowadays, but they are just small part of these machine learning models. So if we want, and I want, we can define like this kind of very basic machine learning model that is just linear regression. Someone might think that it's not machine learning, but I think that it is. So what it does is that it just finds the optimal slope and intercept for this line, and that is the machine learning part of this model. And it will find this line, and then we can, with this, as you remember the cloud, there was big predict. So we can predict this observation that some participant that we don't know the weight, for instance. So we can predict the weight based on height and so on. Very basic maths, but this is kind of like machine learning. And what machine learning refers is the finding those parameters, so A and B, which are the intercept and slope. So now we know what's machine learning, and we can go to these deep learning models. So everyone, as I already mentioned, everyone is talking about deep learning nowadays. That's cool, and that's that's very nice because they are very powerful models, but that's not the only thing that you should come in. Yes, should use, because there are lots of different models also. So what deep learning refers is these neural networks that are kind of like simulating the idea of human brain. So we have these dots that are the neurons, and then we have these arrows which are the output from the neuron, and then we have these P's, P3, P5 and so on. They are those weights, and what is the machine learning here is to optimize those weights so that the model learns stuff from the data. All right. And lastly, we have these generative models, which are utilizing these in this ChatGPT and whatever applications. So why I wanted to really go through these, most of you probably think that this is boring stuff, is that nowadays everyone is talking about deep learning models, but for instance in bioinformatics, those tree-based models, they are commonly used because they are much more interpretable than deep learning models. And also if you know these models, extreme gradient boost and cat boost, they are outperforming deep learning models in tabular data. So deep learning models are not the only one that you should know. Yeah, this is, so artificial intelligence is not this like any human-like thing. It's these algorithms that you nicely said in the cloud. This is from Bill Thelma's website, but what I'm trying to say here is that this data science is kind of similar than what is this carpenter, this timpuri. So you cannot build a house only with a hammer. You need all these tools to do that. I guess there's not even a hammer there. Anyways, the data science is somewhat similar. So in timpuri or carpenter, you need to know the material. So what is the wood type? Is it, I don't even know in English. Anyways, spruce or pine. And then you need to know the goal. So are you building a house or are you building a table? And then when you know all these, then you can have use these methods or tools to build that house. And the same goes with data science. So you need to know the data and you have to know the goal. And when you know these two, then you can apply methods that are justified and you can make justified insights from the data. Yes. So now we can go to this beef of this, how can I say it nowadays, because there's lots of vegans, I don't know. That was a bad joke. Anyways, yes, so how AI can be used in water supply. So of course we can list the chatbots and other things. How we can from the data we could perhaps understand better the customers, so those people that are drinking water, so most of us. But we are here in this, we identified these three things that we think that they are the most relevant. So monitoring and forecasting the water usage and quality, and also the infrastructure and research and development that refers to the understanding the pipelines and infrastructure. So about this water quality, was it so that in Turku or in Finland in general we have the best water in the world or something like that?
One of the best.
Yes, right. Well, I say it's the best. Yes, to keep that like so we can, there's actually quite a lot of literature that they have been developing these machine learning models to monitor and forecast the quality of water. And this can be done real time, and it has been done somewhere, at least based on those research papers. And there was multiple models used. There was neural network models, and then those other models. I cannot remember. I think random forest was also used. But here is listed these measurements that were used in those models. So the water flow and temperature and so on. So this could be used to, the machine learning could be used to monitor the water to ensure that it keeps on the best water in the world, as it was said. But one bigger problem, or I don't know, well, it is actually quite big, I guess, is these pipe leakages and so on. So I guess there's so old pipes in the ground and they are just breaking. But it's quite hard to localize the pipe leakage, which is why these machine learning models could be used in this case also. Was it so that it is already used somewhere? Or? Yes, for this pipe leakage stuff. Or is it? We haven't heard. Okay, I haven't either. All right, but this could be, and there were also papers that have shown that this can be used, but apparently it's not yet used. I think the biggest problem is how to get the data comprehensively. So the model cannot learn something that is not in the data. So the data should include also those pipe leakages, and those measurements should be done so that they are all around from the infrastructure. So it's quite demanding on the price, and also it takes some time to get comprehensive data. So I guess that's one of those reasons why it's not yet applied, at least that extensively. Yes, and then we can go to this research and development part. So this there are some studies that has been studying these microorganisms of these water supply pipelines, and this is actually something that I want to emphasize and so on, because I'm developing tools for this microbiome analysis, so that's why I want to emphasize it also here. So, how many of you know the definition of microbiome? 1, 2, yes. Everyone should raise their hands because it's said there. Yes. Well, it's a community of microbes in well-defined area. So in our gut, we have gut microbiome. On our skin, we have skin microbiome. Mouth, we have mouth microbiome. In the seas, we have some kind of sea microbiome. And soil microbiome, you get the point, probably. But the thing is that it interplays with the environment, and it shapes the environment. Nowadays, we actually say that human is holobiome, and that means that human is not human cannot well exist without its microbiome. So it's so linked to this microbiome, and if you, for instance, Google some disease and microbiome, it's very high probability that you will find some kind of paper that has found some kind of association between these two. So it's kind of gambling, but other way you win every time. But so yeah, it's a very complex biological system, which makes it, I think it makes it very interesting because of that. And as I said, it affects everything. So it, well, for instance, it's there's some studies and some actually knowledge on this microbiome affecting human behavior, which is quite interesting because gut microbiome is somewhere here and brains are here. So it's quite interesting how it modulates the human behavior, but that's how it is. And the problem is that there's very limited knowledge on this, how microbiome affects human. The mechanisms are not yet that known. Yes, so how many of you know this guy? Yes, no one. He might look like your neighbor, but he's actually Antoni van Leeuwenhoek or something like that. So he invented this light microscope in the 1600s. How this is related to AI? So AI is the new microscope. So without these advanced computational methods, let's say computational methods, we cannot study this microbiome as we are doing nowadays. So it is enabling us to see something that cannot be done otherwise. And what this can enable us, these machine learning models, is that we could understand the microbial communities in not only how they affect human, but also how they affect the water supply infrastructure. So that also interplays with the material of the pipes, and it might make it so that the pipes fail faster or then they last longer, but we don't know yet. So we should study them to understand them better. And also this microbiome research could help us to understand how those tap water microbes, how they affect the consumer, so the one who is drinking water like me. And one big thing is this antimicrobial resistance. So it is actually a global problem that those antibiotics, there's lots of growing number of bacteria that is resistant for antibiotics, which is quite problem because then we cannot cure those patients that have some kind of bacterial disease or something. So in wastewater, there's in Finland also lots of antimicrobial resistance research, but I think there's not too much in this clean water part of this pipeline. And also it could help us, these machine learning models, to monitor this microbial quality of the water. Yes, so this is my last thing that I want to say. So the one wise guy said like 50 years ago or something like that the purpose of computing is insight, not numbers. But the same applies to AI. So we shouldn't apply AI because that's cool. We should have some idea how to utilize the results also. And this reflects to the whole pipeline, analysis pipeline. So we have here garbage bin because it's if the quality of data is bad, then the results are also bad. So that's how it went, garbage in, garbage out thing. And but this whole thing, as you remember the carpenter stuff, so we should know the data and we should know how to use the data or the insights from the data. And this whole thing relates to each other. So how to get data comprehensively, that kind of data that really includes the information, because even though the model is the best possible, the model cannot learn something that is not in the data. So we should take that into account, the data collection, then data storage, and then we have the modeling thing related to this machine learning part. But then the final point is how to incorporate the insights into this decision making. So it doesn't make sense to apply AI if we don't have an idea how to utilize the results after we have applied the machine learning models. So that's why there should be, if you are applying some analysis pipeline or AI to your whatever you want to know your customers better and you want to provide them better service or something. So there should be always some data scientist to say that if that makes sense and help you with that implementing this whole analysis pipeline. Yes, so take-home message was the Build-Temas toolbox, which was there are lots of different methods, and deep learning models are not the only one. There are in some cases other models. For instance, statistical models, they might be much better than deep learning models if you want to understand the mechanisms, because deep learning models can be very black box things that you cannot interpret them. If you want to test your idea of some kind of mechanism, then you want to probably apply statistical methods instead. And then we have this microscope thing, which relates to this, that AI can help us to see something from the data that we cannot see otherwise, and especially in microbiome world. And the garbage bin was that you should have always idea on how to for the whole pipeline, so how to collect data and how to finally utilize the results from this analysis pipeline and your project. Yes, I want to thank Vesihuolto and also Liadon Säästöpankki Foundation. They gave me some money for this. So anyways, yeah, thank you for listening. There was first one.
Okay, yeah. So I'm just starting up. You told us that it's good to use an AI as a tool when you provide something with it. So what is, for example, you said that you use AI to monitor or forecast the water quality for Turun vesihuolto. So is it that what is the gain basically for vesihuolto, that they know about water quality? Is it like they don't distribute poor quality water, or how does forecasting, for example, work with this? That if they know, hey, we're gonna get less quality water tomorrow because of maybe some weather-based things, or maybe something else, some sensor data or whatnot. How do we benefit the Turun vesihuolto?
Yes, great question. I'm not the one who can answer that.
I can answer that. Basically,
Puhut vaan siihen.
tähän.
Tulee mulle ääni tänne.
Okay. the distribution system is almost as complex as the gut microbiome. So there is a lot of parameters affecting the quality, and there is also risk that some pipe burst or there is a leakage that affects our water quality. And although there is a very good quality distributed to the system, there is always a risk for the breakdown from the water tower or something that we could provide some insight, or if we could forecast that. So basically, if I understood the question correctly, if we can forecast the changes or if there are going to be abnormal changes in the quality, we can always shut down ventils or pipelines so the water comes from different route to the customers. And also the one of the biggest risks related to the quality is when the new pipeline is installed to the distribution system, there is also always a risk for the quality changes.
Yeah, I like the how you said that it's new microscope. I like that metaphor there. So like to continue that, what is kind of the, for example, when you collect the data about the microbiome, like what is kind of the lens there? Like what data are you following there?
Well, usually when we conduct microbiome research, it's the stool sample, so shit. And then what I'm not doing that. That's good thing. But yeah, so someone else sequenced. So what it does is that just determine what DNA strands there are, and then when we have all these DNA strands, then we can with the bioinformatics tools that are utilizing machine learning, they can determine which bacteria are there present. So what it does is that it has to, because it's a collection of small sequences. So first it aligns those sequences so that we have long sequences, and then it can map to those bacteria. So that's one thing that's called upstream. But the downstream part of this is that we have then we have accounts of how many times each bacteria is present in samples. So that downstream part of this pipeline is that we can, for instance, use those ordination, PCA, and other methods that we can because it's a very high dimensional data. So we can somehow make that reduce the dimensionality, and we can then say something about these samples. Did that answer to your question?
Yeah, I guess. as much as I can understand it, yes.
All right.
So like the data is being collected already by like professionals, I think. So.
Yes, but if we don't have this machine learning algorithms, then it means that we have to this means that we can only analyze this small set of bacteria there. But now we can have samples that have millions of bacteria from tens of thousands different species. So that's not possible without these computational methods.
Any additional questions, comments?
I have a small general question. How can AI detect this linkage, for example, as you showed? Does it kind of predict it or before happening, or what is the strategy that's followed at the moment to predict this kind of problem that can cause water contamination or any problem with quality?
Yeah, well, there was, I checked some papers about that.
I can also answer this one if you want.
Yes, well, yes, if you can answer, that's better.
So if we can predict the distribution systems, like if there's pipelines that are more on the risk of bursting or more old ones or something like that, that could be used as a data for forecasting the leakage. But also there are some parameters that we could check if there's a leakage going on, and in normal distribution system there is always some leakage. It's normal. For the distribution, basically always it's underground, so you can't see it, and we try to use like these cameras for the leakage detection, and then we can see changes in the pressure or in the water demands, like the water demand is growing, then we can see that, okay, this area, it's abnormal, maybe there is a leakage somewhere. And this is the data that could be used for the model, and then the model could utilize it. Yeah.
It's not like an actual Windows XP you're running, right?
No, it's Linux, but with the theme, quite nice.
Thank you, Tuomas and Jutta. So now we'll have a short coffee break, maybe about 10 minutes, and then during that we'll reshuffle the stage and get ready for some discussion about agents and more specifically generative AI. But let's continue in a few minutes. All right, welcome everyone back here. I'm here with Jaakko Partanen and Ida-Liisa Partalin. Ida-Liisa. My apologies. I fail with this every time. But and we are here to discuss about agents. So as Tuomas had in his presentation, AI being a larger subject, and we're talking about the sub context of generative AI and agents in that scene. So, but let's first begin with short introductions. Please, Jaakko, you can mention first who you are and what you do and why you're here.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Hello, everyone from me as well. At this point, I'll have to apologize to everyone. I'm the Pirkka version of the panelist who was supposed to come here. So my colleague Joa was supposed to come, but unfortunately he felt sick today, so I'm here to substitute. But that's fine. I do work with AI agents relatively regularly, so I hopefully have something to give in the conversation as well. Indeed, my name is Jaakko Partanen. I'm a professional hand waver, as I like to say. My background is in engineering, specifically in embedded engineering beforehand. But since then, I have moved more into the managerial side, the hand-waving side, and the sales side of IT. So I've worked for 5 years in an IT consultancy, selling IT services to different kinds of customers. And for the past bit less than 2 years, I've been an entrepreneur, and we have our own company that we help our customers take AI and other technologies into use very efficiently. And yeah, that's my background, and happy to be here.
Thank you, Jaakko. My name is Ida-Liisa Partalin. I work at ATR Soft, which is a software development company that's located, I think, approximately there on the 5th floor on the next building over. And we work mainly with quite big customers. We have, for example, the city of Turku, then Meyer and Murata Electronics, to name a few. We've been in business now 25 years, so quite a long time. I myself have been at ATR Soft for 2.5 years approximately, and for basically the whole of that time I've been working with large language models and how to kind of put AI to use in this kind of usually industrial but business setting mostly.
Yeah, welcome. Nice to have both of you here. And just to mention, Ida-Liisa has previously been a visitor at TurkuAI Meetup, and we are very glad to have her here again. And but first, so what is an agent? Why is it interesting? Would you, Ida-Liisa, like to start with?
Yeah, I knew that we were going to get into the definitions first, so that's basically the only notes that I have for myself. I was thinking about how to define what I think an agent is, and what I wrote down is I think that it's basically AI, or an usually large language model application that has been given the ability to do some sort of actions. And what I think the key there is like has been given, so that these systems typically, they don't just kind of spur out of the box, just like have these abilities. They have been given, it's that kind of old-fashioned software development, that they have a set of things that they can do, and they can't do something that they haven't been given the ability to do. So for example, if you would have, for example, a travel agent AI, it could book you a hotel room and book flights, but it couldn't do your taxes, most likely, because it hasn't been given the ability to do that. I think that's how I would define an AI agent.
Yeah, and I did a bit of research on this before I came here as well, because I knew this was going to be the tough question of what actually the things are that we're talking about is. And AI agents are now more and more being productified by different companies and whatnot, and there are definitions that are more widely used in the industry. But for sort of layman's terms, I really like the analogy of travel agent. That is an agent that is very specific at what they do. And an AI agent would be just an AI trained to do the same thing that traditionally a human agent would have done. So it is a software that utilizes AI in a specific manner to the task at hand. And then how well it does that, or would it be learning from the mistakes it makes, or more learning from outside information, that those are then next different levels of agents of are they reactive or learning or whatnot. But that's the key component of an agent, is that they are specified software that utilizes AI to do a thing. So essentially a job.
Yeah, sounds awful lot like RPA. So how would do you see any correlation with this process automation that we've been using for a long time, and does this bring something to it, or is it a totally different thing?
Yeah, I would say that it does differ quite a lot on how we approach how we build these softwares, because AI is an immensely powerful tool for developing new possibilities quickly in terms of new features, and the same AI model can do a lot. Travel agent can book flights, but maybe also hotels and whatnot, and it's a lot easier to use these productified AI agents, for example, than developing a software and RPA style custom solutions to them. So I think it's a new technology that is way faster to develop into the same old challenges.
Yeah. Well, if this is kind of like the technology angle, how about from the business side? Is what does this agent bring new? What possibilities does it unlock from a business angle? You mentioned quick development, but what's the thing that actually moves the needle for a regular business interested in agents?
I mean, I think what we have seen already happening quite a lot is, of course, like there's a lot of talk about AI taking our jobs, and with agents, that is something that has happened in, for example, in customer agents. So for businesses, that's also means, of course, cost cutting, which is very much often the interesting thing to a business, to cut costs. But I think we are still at the point where we're kind of trying to look at those low-hanging fruits, for example, how to replace customer service agents with AI agents. And I think that we don't probably yet even really know where the big bucks are going to be, like the whole kind of new business models that we might see happening with AI agents, or AI in general for that matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have very little to add to that, if any. I would say that cost cutting is, of course, the number one. Well, cost cutting is one way of saying it. Efficiency is another. So enabling these agents to do the work we normally do now on teaching AI to do it for us enables the same people to do other stuff. So it's just a new technology that brings efficiency to a lot of work.
If you look at cost cutting, that usually indicates that you have an established company that has costs. But would this how about turning it around and talking about very small companies and enabling if you don't need to hire your first customer service agent, you can download it or whatever it is. So this kind of like turns it in a very different stance if you compare big companies or micro companies that can stay small and efficient.
Yeah, definitely. So cost cutting is, I would argue it's still the same word, but it just doesn't cost as much to do a lot of the things that big corporations are now doing. So small companies are able to do the things that they weren't able to do before without hiring new people, for example. Our company is a great example of that we are building our own technology, and it is a lot cheaper to develop it with AI tooling rather than without AI tooling. Prototyping is a lot quicker, and then just using AI as a black box of I want something to happen, we can throw data one way and get data another way without having to think about the complex algorithms on how to define it. So that is a lot easier to quickly develop new systems. So it's especially powerful for small companies.
Yeah. So in this case, if it's powerful for small companies and we have certain roles that can be automated and agentified in that sense, do you have an idea of how this could be described? What is actually a good job to be automated using agents and what is not? Where is actually the difference? And this most likely goes back to technology as itself, but how do you see it? What are the roles that are first to go and what are actually the ones that are last?
Okay, I can take my guess here as it is as good as anyone's. We are living in a weird time right now with AI coming in really quickly, and the same way with industrial revolution or internet coming in, there are going to be a lot of jobs that are going to just go out of fashion. Travel agents don't have as much jobs anymore because internet came back in the day, and now it's a lot easier to book your own tickets. The same way, AI is most likely going to take a lot of customer-facing jobs because AI is very good at talking with people. My old job as an IT salesman, still my job, is going to go very quickly because let's face it, no one likes to talk with salespeople that much, and AI is a lot better at it than most salespeople are because it knows everything. And yeah, I'd say those jobs are sort of the first to go, where it's just about communications between people, and those are quite easy to automate with AI. Another rather alarming area is artists with creating new art, be it music or pictures or even writing. AI is very efficient in that and very good at it. It doesn't have the soul of an artist, but for a lot of commercial use, it doesn't really need it. So when you're doing one-time pictures for walls of an office or one-time pictures for advertisements and whatnot, I think those are sadly going to be places that are going to be automated by AI.
Yeah, pretty much. Then there's also going to be, I think, there are those types of. I don't necessarily agree with everything about the customer facing or the people talking to each other kind of stuff that it's going to go away. I think that the easy cases are going to go away. There are a lot of stuff, for example, in customer service where you're following a very simple thing. For example, I think, for example, Klarna, the company, has laid off a lot of people because a lot of, from what I understand, I'm reading about this, a lot of the interactions are something like, hey, can I change the due date on my invoice? And then someone writes, yeah, you can. And then they look up their account and basically click a button, and then the due date is changed. You don't need a person to do that. But then when you have the more complex cases, then it could get a bit murkier and you might need a person there. So kind of like these simple repetitive tasks in be it customer service or sales or something, like maybe haggling over the final stages of a contract might go away. But I guess I'm just hoping that there's still a need for human-to-human interaction in some places.
But isn't well, this human-to-human interaction? I think that has been a big topic in for example in the healthcare section and sector that we've discussed about automating doctors or kind of like making their work more efficient. And then the answer has always been or the certain backdrop has always been that at least we can then focus on the human-to-human interaction, and then the doctor's most important part is to communicate with the patient. So this was actually a very interesting notion that that might be going first in some other sectors. Like I do sales myself, and it's a very interesting question whether a client, unless it's a client phone answering agent bot that handles my automated call. That's very interesting. That would this interaction actually go away, or is it just transformed into text and then an API and then text in the other end, or business logic in the other end?
Yeah, I think that's a good question, and I think, for example, this interaction that we're having right now and whatnot is human-to-human interaction, and it wouldn't be the same if you were sitting here chatting with ChatGPT and another tablet with a ChatGPT talking to each other. It would lose something, and I do believe that there's still a need for the human-to-human contact in a lot of customer-facing situations. But I still believe that there's vast majority of the jobs in that field might not require that human-to-human contact. So I'm not saying the field is going to go away. There's going to be less people there, and those people will be more focused on the human-to-human interactions. Or it might be that there's the same amount of people and they just have more efficient tools and sort of better customer service. For example, the doctor side, they don't have to write down any prescriptions. They just mention them in passing and voila, they're done. So the sort of efficiency of these customer-facing jobs, they still sort of input data, output data, take data from somewhere. Those are the places where I see that AI is going to be very efficient. Not necessarily the feeling that still the humans require.
Yeah.
Then again, I have to say that I recently read about a study that they had compared people talking with an actual doctor or healthcare professional and an AI chatbot, and they preferred the AI chatbot because it was more empathetic and it felt more like it cared more about, because of course AI doesn't have bad days, it doesn't get tired of answering the same questions over and over again. So
yeah, I think that's a very good. I've seen similar results in certain news articles, and that is interesting. And that always comes back to the question of how repetitive is a person's job anyway, and how do you enjoy it, and what's essential in these circumstances? Because if a doctor, even being very very highly trained and a distinct professional, their daily job might be something that could actually be automated with agent capabilities like this. But how about so this whole agent thing? It's been kind of like an iteration of the large language model discussion, and as large language models have been developing quite quickly. what do you consider being the kind of most important late developments in kind of like this underlying technology that has actually greatly had an impact on this agent side of things, or are LLMs eventually going to agents anyway? Is there any other direction?
I don't know if there's like, when we think about agents per se, if there's been a like major development in agents in itself. I think it's more about we're still figuring out and finding out what are all the things that we can do with large language models. And this, like now we're talking about the reasoning models, which are very new, which is something that again was kind of discovered kind of like by accident, and oh, this is how we can make these models work better. Kind of like prompt engineering is also a field where we learn new things by trying and seeing, oh, this is how it works. And how code generation also was a thing that wasn't built into these models. No one set out in the first place to make a code generation model. They just happened to notice that these models are very good at generating code because they were trained on text from the internet. So I think we have kind of found out that we can use these models to reason and think what they should do, and then build into them the ability to call functions or do API calls or something like that, and then we're kind of going from there. And I think we still probably haven't found all the things out what we can do with this. Agents is now the big thing. Like code generation was a bit ago, but that's already like old news, and we're still talking about like a 3-year time here. So the pace is pretty fast. Let's say that.
Yeah, and on the pace is pretty fast. I do agree on that. The latest big news on the AI field in general was the DeepSeek. That was in January, all the headlines, and now it's Alibaba Qwen model came out, which is supposed to make DeepSeek look like a antiquated version, apparently. So the pace is very fast in all development in AI and everything else, because AI is then used sort of to everything else as well. So it is an interesting time to see where the development is going. The largest sort of leaps recently, I couldn't tell you what they are, but the ginormous leap of how fast the development is now moving. Moore's law, so Gordon Moore, who founded Intel in 1960, said that it was the amount of transistors doubled every 2 years in computational power. So exponential growth 2 years apart. For the past 10 years, it's been 6 months that the amount of transistors has doubled in the computing world. So it's even faster and getting faster by the minute. So whatever new tech we now say, it's going to be antiquated in 6 months or so. So I think that's the big new idea in agents and in everything as well, that new is constantly coming.
Yeah, and I think because of that, because it's so fast, we're going to do a lot of really dumb stuff at first, because we don't know what's going to stick, what's going to be smart in the long run. This has been compared earlier to like the Industrial Revolution, and for example cars coming up. And if you go and Google all the designs for the first cars that were ever made, they all don't look like the ones that we have today, like, because we didn't figure out yet what was the best way to do a car. And we, for example, had mechanical horses, was one like way that people were thinking about it, how to, and that's one thing that was taking the general mode of transport of the time and making it into this new version, like a mechanical version. And I think we're doing a lot of that now. We're doing like the AI version of the thing that we are used to be doing. And we haven't thought what is going to be like the car version of the mechanical horse. So we might not even know what might be the best way to do an agent, for example, or a use case for it.
Yeah, that's most likely the case, or very definitely the case. And Well, because the pace is so quick, and if you can think of agents as like productized use of an LLM, how do you and your companies face this? Because if you start doing some development project for some of your one client, and then we have next week a new AI model, because that tends to happen every week. What next? How do you handle this situation? And does that break everything, or is it something different?
Yeah, I can answer this one from our end. So in our business, we meet a lot of different clients with a different background and different sort of needs. So the way we approach this is just looking at the need of what needs to be done by the customer. So an agent should only be a tool to get that thing from A to B. So it's sort of defining a job description almost, and then putting an AI to do that job, or an AI agent to do that job. And that's also how we develop our own development, that we define what needs to be done. We build software for all the bits that require old-fashioned software, so to say, and then we figure out what are agents. And until we develop AI agents for those tasks, we do them manually by hand. And then at some point we might automate them with AI or some other way. So it's sort of defining the roles, defining the things that need to be done, and then defining agents. How are you going to, who should do this, what kind of a role should do this, and then create either a human agent or an AI agent to do that job. And with existing businesses, there usually is already quite a clear definition of what needs to be done, and so we can see if that's something an AI would be good at. And that's sort of the way we approach the issue.
I think from my end, what I'm seeing somewhat a lot is, especially when we talk about very large businesses and maybe in the industrial sector, that is not the most, how would I say, agile or forward thinking. There is this kind of a, some might say sensible, some might say too scared cat kind of approach to stuff, to kind of like to wait and see. There's a lot of like proof of concept things happening. There's a lot of smaller stuff, but this kind of large scale adoption of AI is still kind of like a lot of the bigger players are waiting to see how this plays out. So I guess it will remains to be seen if it's too late for some or how it's going to happen. But I think eventually every business basically needs to adopt to using AI in some way or another.
Yeah. If every business adopts AI and is able to utilize and cut slack and be more efficient, there's come up also this notion that if for example legal companies who now have interns automate the intern part, and they are able to utilize, because the agents and LLMs are described as interns, endless interns at some point. So they can do relatively simple tasks or even complex tasks, but the important part is oversight, and you need to see that it is done correctly. And this comes from the probabilistic nature of LLMs and agents then. But if we end up in a situation where these interns are actually automated, and be it a software company that has junior developers who are now automated, what happens to the next generation of our juniors or the companies themselves when they only have the partners left, everything is automated? Do they care about the kind of like the next step? And what does this mean from a employee perspective?
Well, I like to be an optimist. and Well, I like to draw some comparisons back to when internet was new, and IT in general as a field is not very old, but it still covers about 25% of all trade worldwide. So it is a vast new business area that just has created a lot of jobs and a lot of value in society in general. So there's definitely sort of IT in general has done that, and I believe that the AI revolution that we're living now and the agents, there's going to be new jobs created. But that being said, I genuinely do not know what those jobs would be, and currently it is not looking too great for junior developers and legal like paralegals and whatnot. So my hope is that we would find some gainful employment to everyone, and I do believe that's going to be the case somehow, because humans as a resource is far too valuable to sort of cast aside. Someone's going to come up with how do we utilize these people who used to be able to do this stuff, but now AI does it. There's a vast amount of sort of just human resources that would be not used, and I don't think that would be like someone smarter than me will come up with a good solution on what to do with all that sort of brain power and capital there. So I'm optimistic that there's going to be something there. Of course, now we live in a very difficult time where we're shifting, but yeah, something's going to happen there, but no clue what it is.
Yeah, not much to add, I guess. I wish I could say that I know what's going to happen, but I don't. But I think, for example, if we think about junior developers, for example, I would maybe try and look at what are the things that an AI agent cannot do. And again, that is going to come to the human-to-human interaction, for example. And I think it might be so that the time of the kind of stereotypical developer somewhere in a dark corner of the office just coding alone, never seeing the customer, that's not gonna be the case anymore. There's going to be more of the specsing with the customer and making sure having to understand the business and not just going ticket by ticket and doing kind of the shoveling work in that sense. That kind of stuff might get automated more, but the figuring out, like, I don't know, maybe how to build those systems, how to make them so that the business, for example, is actually getting the value that they want. Figuring out those kind of stuff might not be that easy for the AI. So developers might have to shift their focus to that kind of stuff, kind of the soft skills side of IT.
Yeah. I think that we still have like the current generation of junior devs. They're in a challenging spot because now we're talking about them being replaced, but they still have a good like chance because there's still lots of stuff to do, and most of agents are not even thought of yet. They're definitely not implemented. Implementation needs still the developer, but what I'm personally very interested in, what about those current 10-year-olds? What's their situation? And current high schoolers, what's their situation? What direction? So what skills would you, if you'd have your version of yourself or your kid now, what would you try to ensure that they can do, or what should they know to be able to survive this world where every menial task is automated, and you might not have the chance to be in the company and practice in a junior position unless it's specifically facilitated by some very knowledgeable person?
Yeah, that's a very, very good question. And I reckon with AI, with the increased efficiency that it brings to every job, I think it's also a possibility for the new generation coming into the workforce to actually focus on what they like doing and being more efficient in that one thing, sort of. And so sort of not caring about your job and just going 9 to 5 might be a bit of a thing of the past, unfortunately, because I do believe there's more than enough room for that as a work-life balance type of thing. But focusing on what you really like and getting good at one thing, I think is always a good advice. And the second part is AI itself. So learning to use AI as a tool for everything it's good at and learning it inside and out would be the number one thing to do right now. So learning to program and whatnot, like if you're going to be a programmer, then learn to program, and if you like doing it, sure, do it, but at the same time realize that your AI is going to do most of the programming. Your job is going to be using AI to program rather than program yourself, sort of. So using AI and doing what you really love is sort of the two things that I would take away.
Yeah, I also have a friend who quit their job as an IT person and is now a bike mechanic, so that's that is one option. But yeah, I heard that in some other session here at Turku Tech Week, there was someone said that there's only one question anymore that's relevant in a job interview, and that is, what can you do what ChatGPT cannot do? So that is the big question. But yeah, I think kind of like accepting the fact that AI is going to be ingrained into a lot of things we do, and learning how to use it, just like Jaakko said, and then kind of accepting the fact that in very many areas we're kind of going to be operators of AI agents, basically. That is going to be a job description for many, I believe, in the future.
Yeah, and I could add on that's a good point about the bike mechanic. I actually know the person as well. That's a good field in terms of where AI might lag behind a little bit in terms of the data that we have and that is being used to train AI. There's not that much data on repairing cars, for example. No one is going to car repair shops and actually tracking the movements of the mechanics that they're doing. Same with bike mechanics or janitorial services, for example, and whatnot. So I feel like those sort of areas that are in the physical world that aren't creating new products, that would be an area that is going to be surprisingly one of the later things to be replaced by AI, because simply the data of learning to do that isn't there.
Yeah, I've personally been thinking of retraining myself as a plumber, just because I know that they get a good wage because the services are quite costly, and I'm quite sure that I would have time to do a career in plumbing before it being automated away.
Yeah, I'm gonna be a chef, so I'm gonna start a restaurant.
So this sounds a little bleak in a sense that the whole agent discussion ended up into the point of us thinking about alternative careers while being in IT. So I think there's quite a lot of interesting possibilities that the following years will bring.
Yeah, but again, as I assume that there were similar discussions having been had during the Industrial Revolution and during when the internet came up and things were looking bleak, but we're not all unemployed. So new jobs have come up, and I think we just don't know how it's going to play out yet, but there is going to be new jobs in fields that we probably can't even imagine just yet.
Yeah. Well, I think this is a good moment to kind of like end the discussion itself, and if anyone in the audience has any good ideas or questions, please voice them. Go ahead.
I was wondering that here in Finland we have a lot of solopreneurs, and because Finnish companies are really small. So if a person want to start a new company by himself, and how hard is it going to be for him to develop AI agents in the future? I mean, because for example, you don't have to hire new people. You can grow your business and make money out of it if you have profitable business ideas. So I mean, because we know that now we have low code, no code solutions. In future, is it going to be same with the AI agents? Like you just put in some requirements and then you have an AI agent and now they're for customer service or something else.
Yeah. So the question is, with especially in Finland, where there's a lot of solopreneurs and entrepreneurs who are just starting, will they have access to the sort of AI agents in the future, and will it be feasible for solo entrepreneurs to develop them? Did I get it right? Yeah. Short answer, yes. It's already there, pretty much. It's superbly easy now to create new software, and now using AI agents is getting easier by the day. And you don't even need to know how to program anymore. You can create business plans on just, for example, Claude is very good at making UI mockups and whatnot. And then you can have a business plan, and then you can get a little bit of funding. You won't need as much anymore as you did back in the day, and then you can create a feasible business out of it. So for small businesses and for new businesses, it's a massive, like I would say 20 times easier to start a new software business, new business in general, than it was 5 years ago. So it is a great possibility for entrepreneurs. Anything to add? Nope.
Yeah, I think I can continue this notion that it's not only about software, like entrepreneurs themselves, but because like sales being a big part of any business, well, I'm being bombarded with advertisements for every new sales tool that's available, and half of them are some agent, and these products of customer service bots or agents are numerous. The question is that how good are they for your specific use? But in the end, there already now are options in the market to take a subscription for a service bot instead of hiring a service agent person into your company, or whatever cold call, email, sales rep it might be. So I think it's more or less very important to try to understand what you actually want to achieve, and then before you think that this something needs to be achieved by yourself or the first hire you do, it could be automated as well, possibly. And next year, most likely, even a larger portion of things can be done that way.
Yeah, I think when we used to say that there's an app for that, and now there's an AI for that, so.
Yeah, and I even heard one colleague from a consultancy that was non-technical, so a salesperson, and they used Claude to create one-time use applications for whatever they needed. So it was sort of using AI to figure out what needs to be done is I would say for a solo entrepreneur, it's even more powerful of a tool than in an established company, because established companies have these ways of working. They already have the sales rep team, for example. Mm-hmm. Replacing that sales rep team with a AI emailer, AI caller is going to be a difficult choice for the business to make, but it's a very easy choice for a solo entrepreneur to make. And the AI is going to be quite good at the job. So I would say it's something that established companies will have to take a look at more than solo entrepreneurs. Let's say there's a bit of an advantage on starting from a green field on that.
Yeah. Any other additional thoughts from the audience?
For example, if an agent does some kind of serious mistake, for example, in a prescription, which takes the responsibility?
So the question is, if an agent makes a mistake, for example, in a prescription, whose responsibility is it? I would say the person operating the agent. So especially in these high-value areas and in medical or energy or whatnot, AI cannot be responsible for anything. It won't take the responsibility. So there needs to be a human oversight on anything an AI does for a long time still. I would argue forever. But yeah, so there needs, AI is a tool and there are humans using that tool. So the responsibility needs to be with the humans. That also enables so that the AIs are built in a way that they wouldn't make mistakes, and that makes it easier to build fail-safes when there's someone responsible for them.
Yeah, situations like that is something that's like actually under the European Union's, for example, AI Act. There are things that you cannot do with an AI that are just prohibited, and there are stuff that is regarded as high risk, and there's a set of laws that you have to follow. And for example, there's a lot of decisions that you can never, under the law, leave to the AI. So the AI can make, for example, a suggestion, but the decision is made by a human. What I think might be kind of an issue, what we might see happening, is that we get these kind of rubber stamp people. So the AI gives out a suggestion, and how we're going to validate that a person actually looks through it, or if there's going to be just a layer of people saying, okay, this is fine. Hopefully that won't happen, but I'm not as optimistic as Jaakko with everything.
But this is something that happens anyway. We've had throughout human history people stamping out things, and one important thing is that AI agents or any LLMs or anything like this, they don't have this legal status, and there's a very big difference in being a legal entity, like a human or a company or an organization, and the responsibility of these legal entities, be they human or something else, those cannot be transferred to a tool currently. I think this is advocated and lobbied quite a lot in different scenarios, but still we need humans to make the decisions, or at least take responsibility for the decisions. I think that's a good moment to stop and one more idea there.
From practical point of view, what are the best tools to orchestrate multiple AI agents?
Any ideas here? I'd say that do you have any practical?
No, I have no practical insight on this, but I would say that there are quite a few products available that enable this. Yeah. So it's sort of with very different pricing as well. So depends on the end goal. But I couldn't say what tool is the best for this, and I haven't used them myself. But if you guys have,
I think it's a similar question as what's the best tool to orchestrate any other software processes, or so personal preference is quite a big part, and just the tools or AI models you happen to be using. But I think there's no real best answer to this, and I don't have any recommendations myself.
Yeah, me neither. It depends on a lot of factors. Personal preference being, I think, maybe even the biggest one as of now, because everything is still very new and hasn't been refined or fine-tuned to its best. So we'll see.
Yeah, you can start by choosing the geopolitic end and choosing the model first, and which model you want to use or don't want to use, and then go from there.
That being said, I can add on that point that it's sort of just start building somewhere rather than be paralyzed by what. So grab one tooling, they're all pretty more or less the same. You can switch it later on. The more important thing about the AI agents is that defining the agents and what their goal is, then you can swap the AI from underneath. That's sort of where the business reasons for using AI agents lie anyway. So pick IBM, Microsoft, I don't know, any of them, but more important is to pick one and go with one and see what happens.
thank you for being interested in the discussion, and thank you for the discussion. So effectively, I still think I think we still have coffee and stuff. Are we kicked out of here? When Timo, what's our situation? Yeah, so no hurry in that sense. And the next AI meetup will be, I think it's the 2nd of April, most likely at the university. So everyone is welcome there as well. Nice to have you here.